Historical background of industrial development. Historical background of industrial development as a subsystem of society. 1. According to Wilbert Moore. Wilbert E. Moore, an American sociologist, emphasized the role of industrialization in the process of modernization and social change. His views can be summarized as follows. A. Industrialization as part of modernization. Moore regarded industrialization as a central component of modernization, which involves a transformation from traditional to modern societies. He saw industrial development as more than economic change; it alters social institutions, value systems, and roles within society. B. Structural differentiation. Moore emphasized structural differentiation, where institutions become more specialized as society progresses. For example, the family used to be a unit of production, education, and welfare. With industrialization, these roles are transferred to other specialized institutions like factories, schools, and welfare agencies. C. Functional interdependence. Industrial society, according to Moore, develops through increased functional interdependence among its subsystems. The economy, industry, polity, government, education, and family become interlinked and interdependent, but also distinct. D. Social mobility and new class structures. Industrial development introduces occupational specialization and promotes social mobility. This leads to the creation of a new class structure, where achievement, rather than ascription, determines social position. E. Cultural and value change. Moore highlighted that industrialization brings new values like achievement, efficiency, punctuality, and rationality, replacing traditional norms based on kinship and custom. 2. According to M.S. Gore. M.S. Gore, a noted Indian sociologist, explored industrial development in the Indian context, especially in terms of social transformation and development planning. A. Industrialization in the Indian context. Gore emphasized that industrial development in India must be understood within its unique historical and cultural background. Unlike Western societies, India had to undergo planned industrialization in a predominantly agrarian society with deep-rooted caste hierarchies. B. Role of planning and state intervention. Gore recognized the importance of state-led planning in India's industrial growth post-independence. Industrialization was seen as a means for achieving economic growth, social equity, and national integration. C. Social change through industrialization. Industrialization, according to Gore, acts as a catalyst for social change by challenging traditional institutions like the joint family, caste system, and rural agrarian structures. However, he also noted cultural lags, where economic changes outpace social and value changes, creating tensions. D. Dualism in society. Gore observed a dual structure in Indian society. Modern industrial sectors coexist with traditional sectors. This results in inequality, urban-rural divides, and occupational dislocations, which need to be addressed for inclusive development. E. Need for human-centered development. He argued for a developmental approach that integrates social and human concerns, not just economic growth. Industrialization should enhance human well-being, dignity, and participation, rather than just increase production. Industrial development in India. 1. Introduction. Industrial development refers to the growth and expansion of industries within a country, contributing to economic growth, employment, technological advancement, and overall modernization. In India, industrial development has been a critical part of national planning, especially after independence, aimed at transforming the country from an agrarian economy to a diversified industrial one. 2. Historical background. A pre-colonial period. India had a thriving craft-based and cottage industry system. Famous for textiles, metallurgy, shipbuilding, etc. Economy was largely self-sufficient and village-based. B. Colonial period, British rule. British policies led to deindustrialization. Indigenous industries declined due to import of British manufactured goods. Destruction of local artisan systems. Lack of modern infrastructure for Indian enterprises. India became a raw material supplier and market for British goods. 3. Post-independence industrial development, 1947 onwards. A. Planning era and mixed economy. India adopted a mixed economy model, public plus private sector. Industrial Policy Resolution, 1948 and 1956, laid the foundation. Focus on heavy industries. Basic infrastructure, steel, power, transport. Public sector enterprises, PSUs. B. 5-year plans. Second 5-year plan, 1956-61, emphasized heavy industrialization, Nehru-Mahalanobis model. Third and fourth plans promoted diversification. Growth slowed in the 1960s, 70s due to wars, droughts, and political instability. See License Raj, 1947-1991. Excessive bureaucratic control and licensing system. Low productivity, limited innovation, and inefficiency in public sector units. Private sector restricted by regulation and red tape. 4. Liberalization and post-1991 industrial growth. A. Economic reforms, 1991 onwards. Introduction of liberalization, privatization, and globalization, LPG. Abolished licensing system for most industries. Opened up for foreign direct investment, FDI. Privatization of PSUs began. B. Sectoral shifts. Growth of service and IT industries, while manufacturing also expanded. Emergence of entrepreneurial culture, tech parks, and startups. C. Government initiatives. Make in India, 2014, to boost manufacturing. Startup India, Digital India, Production-Linked Incentive, PLI, schemes. Development of industrial corridors and special economic zones, SEZs. Rise of modern industry in India. The rise of modern industry in India occurred in distinct phases, shaped by global events such as World War I and II, and by national developments after independence. Each phase played a crucial role in transforming India's economy from a traditional agrarian base to a more diversified industrial structure. 1. Rise of industries during World War I, 1914 to 1918. A. Disruption of foreign trade. The war disrupted imports from Britain and Europe, creating a shortage of industrial goods. Indian entrepreneurs filled this gap by setting up domestic industries. B. Growth in textile and jute industries. Demand for textiles, uniforms, tents, and jute sacks increased for war needs. Indian mills, especially in Bombay and Calcutta, expanded production. C. A rise of Indian entrepreneurship. Business groups like the Tatas, Birlas, and Wadias started expanding their enterprises. The lack of competition from foreign goods gave them space to grow. D. Start of modern industrialization. Industries like iron and steel, Tata Steel, chemicals, and engineering began gaining ground. Though still under colonial control, the seeds of modern capitalist industry were sown. 2. Rise of industries during World War II, 1939 to 1945. A. Further disruption of imports. With Britain focused on the war in Europe, Indian imports were again restricted. India had to self-supply for its own needs and for the British war effort. B. Expansion of strategic industries. Growth in industries related to arms, ammunition, machinery, transport, textiles, and chemicals. Defense-related industries began emerging. C. Labor force mobilization. Massive employment of Indian workers in industries supporting the war led to urbanization and migration from rural to industrial areas. D. Technological and infrastructure development. Some technical training and new infrastructure were developed to support industry. However, much of this was for colonial benefit, not Indian self-reliance. E. Rise in nationalist sentiment. Indian industrialists began demanding economic autonomy. This laid the foundation for post-independence industrial planning. 3. Rise of industries after independence, post-1947. A. Planned industrial development. India adopted 5-year plans starting from 1951, focusing on heavy industries and self-reliance. The second 5-year plan, 1956-61, emphasized rapid industrialization using the Nehru-Mahalanobis model. B. Public sector expansion. Creation of public sector undertakings, PSUs, in steel, mining, oil, heavy machinery, and energy. Focus on state-led industrialization to build a national industrial base. C. Development of infrastructure. Major investments in power, transport, and communication. Establishment of industrial finance institutions and research institutes. D. Import substitution policy. To reduce dependency on foreign goods, India adopted import substitution industrialization, ISI. Domestic industries were protected through tariffs and licensing. E. Small-scale and cottage industries. Emphasis also placed on small-scale industries, SSA, to create employment and reduce rural-urban inequality. Handicrafts and village industries were encouraged under Khadi and Village Industries Commission, KVIC.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you in next video.